Recent controversy over companies asking job seekers for their Facebook passwords has raised a number of legal questions. Laura Rifkin has a look at the different arguments legal experts have on the matter.
Are demanding that job seekers surrender their Facebook passwords as a condition of being hired. Why? So they can log in as the applicant and see what they do on the web off the clock.
I definitely think it's an invasion of privacy to some extent. It's kind of like, that's my personal life, and there's definitely a line between like the professional environment, the personal life. But it's very hard to get a job these days. It's hard to move companies and get a promotion. So if I could help you get that promotion, I'd definitely open to the opportunity if it give me the advantage over the next guy in line for the job.
Facebook issued a statement opposing the practice. We'll take action to protect the privacy and security of our users, whether by engaging policymakers or, where appropriate, by initiating legal action. But experts are divided on whether current privacy laws prohibit this employment practice.
You know, if you take this argument to its extreme, for an employer, it would be completely inappropriate for an employer to inquire of the employee's personal family habits. That would be clearly inappropriate, and that's, I mean, at that point, the employee has legal remedies available to him or her. In this case, what the state of Maryland is doing is saying that in employment law, the employer cannot access general social media accounts. That's overly intrusive, and that's going to undermine safe work environments.
Maryland is one of the first states to take action by proposing legislation barring potential employers from requesting personal login data for social networks. The bill, if passed, would only apply to employers in Maryland, not Virginia or the district. No action has been taken in these jurisdictions. The bill has passed the Senate but is still being waited on by the House. As for now, applicants will have to decide whether the job they seek is worth giving up their social media privacy. I'm Laura Rifkin for the District Docket.
Joining us now to discuss more about the Facebook controversy is Professor Christopher Simpson. Professor Simpson is a full-time professor at American University School of Journalism who focuses on media theory and practice. Tom Simeone is also joining us again on this segment. Tom is a founder and managing partner of Simeone & Miller. In addition to co-owning and managing his own firm, Tom is a part-time professor. Okay, let's turn to the Facebook password controversy, gentlemen. Most people think that if they set their privacy controls, that they can avoid others from intruding on any personal data. But now employers seem to be asking individuals for their passwords. What do employers want, Tom?
Well, I think employers are doing what they've traditionally done. They try to gain as much information they can about the applicant to make a good job decision. It is not uncommon to do criminal background checks, to check references, look at a resume and call people there. This is definitely taking it to another level, but when you're hiring someone for a key position, teaching children, things of that nature, you're going to look for every information you can so you can find out if this person actually is going to do a good job.
Well, Professor Simpson, is this something that is just part of looking for a job, or in fact is this something similar to asking for the keys of a person's house or asking for their email password? I mean, how far does this go, and does it violate privacy concerns?
Well, it certainly violates privacy concerns. Whether it violates privacy law is a different question. The law is very, very generous to employers. One of the things with the Facebook issue is not so much, or it is less, the accurate information that Facebook has, as it is that there are vast amounts of false and misinformation that gets sucked up in these social media accounts. So like, say for example, in the Washington area alone, there are 5 different people with my name. And so quite often I can, by doing a record check on myself, I discovered all kinds of false information. Houses that I've never lived in, accounts that I've never had, and so forth and so on. So there's a body of law that controls credit agencies and gives people the right to view what credit agencies have collected and report about you. And I think it's that type of law, which came after a history of abuses by credit agencies, is the same type of approach that will be much more effective than the legislation that's currently proposed in Maryland.
Well, what do you think that, at least right now, it seems that all of this is legal. What do you think employees should do if they don't want to hand over all of this information, but they're confronted with this issue?
Yeah, well, the issue as to whether it's legal or not is not a set decision. There are actually 2 U.S. senators who have written a letter to the Attorney General and said there are 2 laws, federal laws on the books, and they've asked them to do an investigation and some research. Is this legal or not? So it's an open question right now. But getting to your answer, or to your question, the answer is not much you can do as an employer. There were cases in the past where employees, someone tried to get the information from employees, and the court said, no, you can't do that. It's a form of coercion. These people need their job. But for someone who's an applicant, you're not quite in that situation. So right now, it's a tough situation for an employee to be in, or an applicant to be in. Clean up your Facebook page is probably the best thing you can do right off the bat.
Professor Simpson, what do you think employees should do under these circumstances?
Well, I think that this is one aspect of a systemic problem that goes way beyond Facebook, and that is the extent of imbalance in rights between employers and employees, for example, the extent of imbalance in rights between corporations and ordinary individuals, especially because of the great financial differences between those 2 categories. So in the short term, or in the sort of immediate situation, I will have to agree with him, is that the best thing you can do is clean up your Facebook page, or not join Facebook in the first place. But that is not a solution to the larger problem.
Well, you've heard probably that, that Facebook itself has issued a press release that denounces the employers who are asking for login information, saying, you know, this does not comply with our own policies. We may take action. Facebook may take action. Seriously, what do you think they can do?
They can try some options legally and make the accounts non-transferable, do things that make it illegal to share this with your employer, and then the employee can then have an out, and maybe the employer could not require it. That's the only thing I really can see Facebook doing at this point.
Professor Simpson?
Well, on the Facebook front, as far as the proposed Maryland law is concerned, there is still a gigantic hole in that law, which is to say anybody who's a state employee, anything like that, they're all exempted from the terms of this Maryland law. So what that means is in the state of Maryland, which has lots of federal employees, lots of state employees, that a very significant fraction of the people there are not even covered by this draft law. I think the way to go forward is for people to have the right to access and the authority to correct or at least comment on the claims that other people are collecting on them, that companies such as Facebook are collecting on them. This has worked in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and by and large it's had a very beneficial and professional impact on how this sort of thing is done.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming today. That's it for today's show. I'm Maria Hallis.
And I'm Yasmin Al-Sabawi. Thank you for watching District Docket. Goodbye.